Let's see. Okay, back to here. So it is Shabbat Zachor, in which we take out a second Sefer Torah, and we read the three commandments of Shabbat Zachor. And the reason we do it now is because it's done on the Shabbat before Purim, because Purim is, our understanding is that, well, Haman and all, it's all descendants of Amalek, and Amalek is the root story of hatred of Israel, that Haman and the attempt to destroy Israel. And it's also three Torah mitzvahs, and they are, number one, and this is what we're reading on a Shabbat morning, Zachor et asher asa lecha Amalek. Remember what Amalek did to you when you were on your way leaving from Mitzrayim. As you're coming to freedom, try to knock you down. Asher karcha baderech, he happened upon you, he surprised you in the way, and the Hasidim, he cooled you down. He cooled down your spiritual enthusiasm. Veizanev becha kol ha-nechishalim acharecha, and he grabbed from behind all the weak ones that were in the rear of Israel. Ve'ata ayef ve'yageh, and you were tired, weary. And Amalek lo yare Elohim. He didn't, the morality, the thought of morality, the thought of a higher moral force, everything that Elohim represents, and also that there is a divine justice for doing injustice, that you'll get your stuff, but they ignored all that. So remember that Amalek did that. And when Hashem, haniach Hashem Elokecha lecha mikol ovecha misaviv ba'aretz, when you get to the historical point that God gives you safety from all your enemies around you in the land, asher Hashem Elokecha noten lecha, nachala lerishta, when you finally receive your land as your inheritance, your inheritary portion forever, which we're now in that stage, timche et zecher Amalek mitachat hashamayim. At that point, you wipe out the memory of Amalek from under the heavens. There's no more evil. There's no more Amalek. You don't remember anything like that. It doesn't say you're to kill anybody. It's something about a change of consciousness when we're in a state of peace, because the first part says when you're in a state of safety and peace, and then wipe out the memory. It doesn't say at that point go and attack and kill Amalek. It says wipe out the memory of Amalek from under the heavens. And the third is don't forget. Don't forget to do that. Don't forget to remember. It's a bizarre koan of sorts. And there's lots of ways of, because remember what he did, wipe out his memory, don't forget. It's all to do with memory and history and so on. Okay. Then Rav Kook wrote letters to Am Yisrael, most Chagim, in the eve of the Chag, he wrote something for Am Yisrael for the time and for the Chag, and they're published. And the Kriot Gdolot that we're now going through are another type of public writing that he did on when certain occasions happened. But this is when before Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Pesach, Chanukah, and Purim. And in the collection Mamrei RAV, they have two of the public letters that he wrote in 1934 and 1935, in Purim 1934 and Purim of 1935. And what I did is I sort of fashioned one out of using the parts from both, but mostly for the 1934, with some additional pieces from the 1935 letter to Am Yisrael. But I really want us to hear it, that he's speaking to us in 2026, because, well, let's read it and you'll see it's like he's responding to current events, today's news, which also tells us that there have been certain inbred difficulties and challenges that Am Yisrael has been challenged with. And Rav Kook was telling us about it then, and we need to be told about it again now. And so let's share the piece. I also, the machine translated it, but he starts with a quote from the written Torah, where in the Megillah says, Lech knos et kol Yehudim, go and bring together all the Jews. And then the oral Torah has the halacha of Purim, where Rava says a person is obligated to get intoxicated on Purim to the point that he doesn't know between cursed is Haman and blessed is Mordechai. And then Rav Kook puts that as the heading, and now he writes. And he's writing in Purim 1934, and as we've gone through, that's Yemach Shemo was in power, and lots of things were happening in the world that were difficult things. So he says like this, Beyemei HaPurim ha'ele, in these days of Purim, B'sha'ot krashot halalu, in these difficult hours, שיסורים מקיפים וממלאים את כלל ישראל, where all sorts of struggles and suffering are encompassing, encircling, and filling the entire Klal Israel, the community of Israel, Hagoy Kulo, our entire people, Sarot rabot mibachutz. We're being surrounded and thanked for all sorts of many tsuras from the outside, a lot of anti-Semitism and everything. But yoter gdola hi hatzara mipnei hatzarot hapnimiyot shelanu. But even greater is the suffering because of our inner problems, inner problems, mipnei shenishbat shalom habayit etzleinu. The shalom bayit, the peace within our own home, has stopped. We're not in a state of peace with each other. Shalom bayit Israel, the shalom in Beit Israel, is we don't have it. Let's go to the translation just to get that. In these days of Purim, in these difficult hours when suffering surrounds, fills all of Israel, the nation beset by many troubles from all around, without, from around us. But an even greater trouble weighs upon us because of our inner troubles, because peace in our homes have been taken from us, the peace of the house of Israel. We don't have peace within the house of Israel. והאמירה הנצחית של לך כנוס את כל היהודים, and the internal call of go, that Esther said to Mordechai, go, knos et kol Yehudim, before she went in to the king. This was the first step that made the Purim everything possible. But this eternal cry of go and gather together all the Jews, tzricha liot mitzaltzelet be'oznenu, it needs to be ringing in our ears. It needs to enliven us, to bring us to life again. And to raise us from all our lowliness. Now we're in a situation where we have to lech knos et kol Yehudim. Aval בוודאי, כאן ישאל מי שיודע לשאול, but in actuality, here it's quite appropriate, someone who knows how to ask a question. הייתכן, is it possible? עכשיו, now, אתה אומר לך כנוס את כל היהודים, you say, let's gather all the Jews together? Well, כיצד תכניס בכפיפה אחת? How can you possibly put into one unit, let's see if it translated, well, we'll read it as one unit, במסגרת אחת, in one framework, at kulam, all the Jews in the world, את כל סיעותיהם ואת כל מפלגותיהם, and all the movements and all the parties and all the ideological groups. So he's saying, in these difficult days of Purim, where we're troubles all around us, but even more our inner troubles, the lack of peace in Israel, among Beit Israel, and we must again call out to all of us, Lech knos et kol Yehudim. This internal saying has to ring in our ears, gather all the Jews. It must revive us again and lift us above all our lowliness. But someone who knows how to ask will ask, well, is it possible now? Now to say, go gather all the Jews? How can you bring together in one bundle, within one framework, all of the Jews and all their different factions and all their different parties? And this next quote he wrote in the 1935 statement, Gam b'sha'ah שאנו אויבים את אויבינו ואנו אוהבים את אוהבינו. It's amazing because he said the word oyev and the word ohev. It's only a one-letter difference. Oyev is enemy, Aleph Vav Yud Bet. Ohev is lover, Aleph Vav Hey Bet. So we have to think about that. But he's here. He's saying, even at a time where we're now in a situation, again, he's writing this Purim, spring 1935. He died 3 months after writing this. And then, the whole, well, what happened. But he's saying, even at this time where we are oivim et oivenu, we're hating our enemies, we're We're dealing with our enemies. Ve'anu ohavim et ohavenu, and we love those who love us. Gam b'sha'a she'anu omdim al hakara shel ha'evat ha'olam asher lenegdenu. Even at the time when we're standing with a very clear recognition of the hatred in the world that there is against us. We're just overwhelmed by the hatred in the world, and that's against us. Mikol ahamanim, from all the Hamans, shebekol adorot, of all the generations. Ubesha'a she'anu mitmal'im ahava lekol hamatzilim v'hamaginim shelanu. And at the time when we are full of love and gratefulness to all who save us and all who protect us, lechol hamordechayim shel bechol hazmanim, and to all the Mordechais of all the times, even at the time when we, the children of Israel, are in mortal danger and all our enemies are attacking us, gam az ya'afilu aleinu hayediot hametaot et ahor bahir. Even then, we're clouded, our understanding is clouded by ideas that remove the clear light. Even at the time when we are all collectively being attacked, אז אנחנו חושבים בחובנו על דבר ניצחונות פעוטים. Even then, we are thinking to our guilt, as it's something that we have a chiyuv for, on this matter of small victories, shel kita klape kita, one group against another group, shel miflaga klape miflaga, of one party versus another party. That sound like a familiar situation in the modern state of Israel? The level of conflict between all the different parties while this is going on? גם אז אנו מנוגעים בעקשנות לקחת את הטפל ולזרוק את העיקר. Even in that situation, we are infected by the stubbornness that we take the secondary and we throw away the central, the important thing. לדבר רק על דבר קניינים פרטיים, where we're speaking only on our own private acquisitions. Look what my party got. We got the budget and we got the right not to do this, and we got all of that is the discourse around Israel today. Everybody's speaking on the kinyanim pratiim, mif'alim shel za'ir sham v'za'ir sham, the activities of small activities here, a small activity there, shel tzav, letzav, kav, lekav. And so, we're just focused in on individual little, everybody's interested in their own area. Ve'anu shochechim et hasod hagvura, and we are forgetting the secret of our strength, the tiferet ha'elyona, and the upper splendor, ha'me'ateret otanu, that crowns us, ha'chavuya b'tochiyut nishmatenu, that is hidden in our very innermost souls. We're so caught on the externals. So he's asking, Now we go back to 1934. Keitzad yashuvu ha'atzmot hapzurot. How is it possible for all the scattered bones, and he's using that metaphor, all the scattered bones of Pnei Kol Bik'ata Galuta Rachava that have scattered to the entire expanses of our exile, Achomrit v'Aruchanit, our material exile, our spiritual exile. How is it possible for all these scattered parts, Lehit Karev Echad El Echad, to come close one to each other? Liot l'shiur koma echad, to be able to establish ourselves as one unit, hanikra klal Israel, and we're called the collective of Israel. Ha'omed lidrosh et chosno, that is standing ready to now to demand and its own strength, et triato, its revival, renewal, its shivat shivuto, and the return of all its captives. Let's read the English. It's nice to say we have to gather all the Jews. That has to ring in our ear. But how can you bring together in one bundle, in one framework, all of them, all their factions, all their parties? And even at the very moment when we hate our enemies and love those who love us, when we stand with full awareness of the eternal hatred that is directed at us by all the Hamans of every generation. And when we are filled with love for those who save and protect us, for all the Mordechais of all times, even then, misleading thoughts darken the clear light for us. We have misleading thoughts. Even then, we busy ourselves with petty victories of one group over another, of one party over another. Does this sound like he's been reading the newspapers? I mean, it's so extraordinary how much we've been doing this for a long time. We are busying ourselves. We're being attacked by the whole world, and we're busying ourselves with petty victories, one group over another, one party over another. Even then, we are stubbornly clinging to the trivial and casting aside the essential, speaking only of private acquisitions, small undertakings here and there, a command upon command, line upon line. It's a quote from Yeshayahu. You have to see the context, what he means. But but in the implication is we're just doing little things here, but nothing collectively, while forgetting the secret of the heroism, the supreme splendor that crowns us, which is hidden deep within our national soul. So how can the scattered bones that are spread across the vast valley of exile, material and spiritual exile, how can they draw near to one another to become one full stature called Klal Israel, where we can stand to demand our strength? If we could have done this in the mid-20s, the late 20s, demanding our strength as Klal Israel, our revival and the return of from our captivity. However, let's go back to the Hebrew. But how can we possibly bring ourselves together in such a way that we can truly be Klal Israel? we see with our own eyes et hatzara hapnimit ha'ayuma, this terrible inner problem, suffering. איך שקמים יהודים כנגד יהודים, as Jews are standing up against other Jews. איך שאחים נהפכים זה לזה, as brothers are becoming like ze'ivim v'nachashim, like wolves and snakes with each other. ואיך זה תאמר, לך כנוס את כל היהודים. So how are you going to say, go gather all the Jews? You're a dreamer. So here, Rav Kook begins to answer himself. Omnam, kol ha'omer, shesheker bada haman harasha be'omro. Anyone who says that Haman was lying, Haman the evil one was lying when he said in the Megillah, Yeshno am echad mefuzar umeforad. There is a one nation that is scattered and divided. Eino ela toeh. If someone is really mistaken, if you think Haman was lying here, he was describing reality. Be'emet, mefuzar umeforad hu ha'am echad. In reality, the one nation is scattered and divided. But with all this, in this, it is still Am Echad, one nation. And this nation, Shekol Amidato Be'olam, that its entire existence in the world, Merupedet hi be'plaei plaot, is carpeted, is just full of wondrous wonders. The fact that we exist and all the things that happen to us in this nation, that its stance in the world is the wonder of wonders. Hu mar'eh b'havayato. It shows, this nation, by its very being, gam ken et hapele hazeh. Also this wonder, which is shebemahuto ha'atzmit, that in its inner essential being, hareu hamechad, it is one nation, limrot ma shehu mefuzar umefurad, despite, while it is scattered and divided, it is still one nation. Aval, emet hadavar, shemachalatenu hagdola, machalat hagalut. It's true, though, that we're in a big disease, the disease of exile. He melefefet otanu mi'az. It covers us from the beginning of our exile. Asher al yada ba aleinu הקטסטרופה הגלותית, that came upon us, the catastrophic exile. As we said, mipnei chataenu galinu me'artzenu, because of our wrongdoings, our chetaim, we were exiled from our land, v'nitrachaknu mi'al admotenu, and we were distanced from our land, me'artzenu, from our earth, from our ground. Artzenu is our eretz. But that which led to our exile, he milefafet otanu. It still got us in its grasp. It's covering us. Ve'oseh otanu la'am mefuzar umefurad. And it's making us still today into a nation that is scattered and spread. Hapizur v'hapirud, and this scattered and spreadedness, ochel otanu bechol peh, it's consuming us completely. We're being completely destroyed by this. He omedet al derech ha'geula. It's standing in the way of Geula. kekir barzel ve'even negef, like a iron steel wall and a uh, poisonous, destructive rock. A destructive rock. Let's read the English. We see with our own eyes the terrible inner calamities, Jews rising against Jews, brothers turning against one another like wolves and serpents. How can you once say, "God will gather all the Jews"? Anyone who claims that Haman the wicked lied when he said there is one people scattered and disturbed is mistaken. Truly, the one people is scattered and disturbed and dispersed, and yet despite this, it remains one people. And this nation whose very existence in the world is cushioned upon wonders, displays in its very being this very wonder that in its essential nature, it is one people despite being scattered and dispersed. And the scattered and dispersed isn't only geographically, it's ideologically, mentally, all of that realm, the inner realm. It's true that our great illness, the great illness of exile, has enveloped us since the day that the catastrophic exile befell us. Because of our sins, we were exiled from our land and distanced from our soil. And this illness is still continues to surround us and makes us a scattered and divided people. And this scattering and division is consuming us entirely. It stands as an iron wall and a stumbling block.
Wasn't the sin of that caused the exile was said to be causeless hatred, sinat chinam, and he's suggesting that that cause is still there. Right.
Yeah. And there's other places where he doesn't even suggest it. He says it explicitly.
Right.
But, you know. So that's the situation we're in right now, he's describing. And then he goes, and of course, he doesn't just leave us there, because he says we have to understand the other part of the reality is Netzach Israel lo yishaker. The eternal one of Israel does not lie and will not lie. Agalut im kol norotea mukhrach sheketz yavola. The exile with all its horribleness, it has to come to an end. ובעת אשר הרוח מתחיל לעבור מארבע כנפות הארץ. And at this time where the spirit, the wind is starting to blow from all four corners of the earth, and the people are starting to come to Israel. And he says for two reasons. One, מהמצוקות הסובבות אותנו, because of all the all the troubles and oppressions that are surrounding us, people are fleeing from, or מההתגלות הנפשית, because of the spiritual revelations, הממלאה את קרבנו, that is filling our inner beings גם יחד together, לשוב ולהיבנות בארץ חיינו, to return and to build and to rebuild, to be built in our land. It's also this positive force. Both of these things are now happening in the world. Hinenu krovim lahakir. We are therefore now close to recognizing ki yeshna trufa, that there is a remedy, there is a medicine. Gam lemachalat hapizur ve'hapirut shelanu, to our disease of scattered and divided. Vesof kol sof, and finally, Am echad anachnu, we are one nation. Ve'am echad niyeh, and we will be one nation. Ve'od hapam yakum Israel, and once again, Israel will rise up. Ve'imrato hanitzchit, with its eternal call, shel lech knos et kol haYehudim, bring together all היהודים, ובכלל ישראל, בייחוד שסוף סוף באמת הוא עם אחד. And this is because the Klal Israel, the collective of Israel, is in actuality Am Echad. As it says in the Pasuk, Mika Amcha Israel, Goy Echad Ba'aretz, who is like your people Israel, one nation on earth. So therefore, Hine Apam Muchachim Lehodot Hashkiotenu, we have to now admit our mistake, our mistakes. שאנו חושבים לתאר לנו את עצמנו, that we were thinking to describe ourselves to ourselves, את מהותה של היהודית, the essence of Judaism, of our Jewishness, על פי המראה החיצון שלה, according to its outer appearance. ואנו דנים את עצמנו, we are judging, seeing ourselves, evaluating ourselves, רק על אותו הצד של הפיזור והפירוט שלנו, just on the side of what disperses us, what divides us. We're just looking at that aspect. Let's read the English of this. The Eternal One of Israel does not lie. Exile with all its terrors must eventually come to an end. And when the spirit, the wind begins to blow from the four corners of the earth, from the pressures that are surrounding us on one side, and from the inner awakening that's filling our hearts to rebuild our life in our land on the other, with this, we are drawing close to recognizing that there is a remedy for our illness of scattering and division. In the end, we are one people and we will be one people. And once again, Israel will rise with its eternal proclamation. Go, gather all the Jews. And this is within Klal Israel, especially. The truth is we are one people, as it says, who is like your people of Israel, like Israel, one nation on earth. So therefore, we must now admit our error, that we imagine that we can even define ourselves, the essence of Judaism, according to its external appearance alone. We are judging ourselves only by the aspect of our scattering and we're seeing the differences of each other, and that's what we're basing. We're seeing all our judgments of each other based on that. Let's go back to the Hebrew. Vegam ahamanim shel kol azmanim, and also the Hamans of all the time periods, she'em pog'im banu be'eres sinatam, that are attacking us with their poisonous hatred, ubeyichud bezman ha'ma'avar hazeh, and especially in this time of transition. Now, this is particularly a little bit yikes. He's writing this in 1934, when the transition back, the transition is leaving exile, coming to Israel, but in that time, the Haman of that time, well, both of them, well, no, the Mufti got there later, but Yamach Shemo was really starting to get power. And so he's saying, in the Hamans of all the time periods that are attacking us with their poisonous hatred, especially now in this time of transition, Hem tofsim et hatzad hachalash, they grasp on to our weak side, which is our separation and our division and our lack of unity. Lifnei shehu hatzad hapumbi v'hayadua, it's our public known side. So they take advantage of it. Let's read the English. And the Hamans of every generation who strike us with the venom of their hatred, and especially in this transitional time, they grasp only our weak side, for it is the public and visible side. Aval, dafka, and here's Rav Kook getting, in a way, prophetic. Dafka al yedei meza'azaenu ela, but it's specifically because of these horrible disturbances that we are going through, that we're shaking up, and we're seeing, navo lachush, we will come to sense, to have a feeling, sheyesh lanu nefesh klalit bilti yadua, that we do have a collective soul that we don't know of, we're not conscious of it, but it's also that's beyond the world of dat, where dat we see the differences and so on, but we're going to start to sense that there is a collective soul of Israel, nefesh umatit gdola, a huge national soul of the Ummah, a huge soul of the people, asher anachnu hesachnu et datenu mimena, that we stopped thinking about it. We got caught in our smaller groups, and this nefesh umatit gdola, this national spirit, great national spirit, he mle'a otzma, it's full of power, veyesh ba koach, and it has the strength, la'amidenu al raglenu, to stand us up on our feet, lechadeshet chayenu ki yemei olam, and to renew our life like in the days before, to stand up again, Israel. Vela'amod gam keneged kol minei amalekim, and also to stand up against all the types of Amaleks. Achafetzim kol kach lezanevet nachshalenu, that want so much to attack all our weaknesses. Let's read the English. But precisely through these shocks, and it's a little scary because it did happen after the Holocaust. We suddenly realized that there is the collective of Israel that we need to, well, there were people working on it before, but after that, it's not a coincidence 3 years after the Holocaust, the state actually manifested. But these shocks, we're beginning to sense that we possess a hidden collective soul, a great national soul from which we have distracted ourselves. And this national soul is full of strength and capable of setting us on our feet, renewing our life as in ancient days, and standing firm against all the Amaleks who seek to strike at our stragglers. So therefore, Ayahadut hatmira, habilti noda'at, gam lanu vela'atzmenu, this hidden Judaism that is not known even by ourselves. There's something that we're not conscious of. This hidden Judaism, this hidden collective, Zot haneshama hagdola shel ha'uma hagdola, is the great soul of the great people. And what is the role of this Ummah Gdola? Hanos, or what's its reality? Hanoset et sevel ha'olam, it's carrying the suffering of the world. It's really carrying the suffering of the world. And so it's such a crazy thing because how the Christians took it over by that one image of walking with the thing. But that's what we're carrying, the suffering of the world. Ve et or ha'olam betocha, and the light of the world within us. So both the suffering of the world and the light of the world is within us. And this larger Judaism, the full soul of our people, he tivadalanu, it will become known to us, beyamim hagdolim halalu, in these great days. And from this place that is beyond knowing, that is unknown, that is in the soul of the people, tavo lanu habracha shelech knos et kol haYehudim. Will come upon us the blessing of, yes, go gather all the Jews. We will be able to do it. And therefore we have to value and treasure very much in these days of Purim this great hidden treasure, that there rests our happiness and the richness, the well-being of our life, which is Sgulat Am Echad Shelanu, that the Sgula, the specialness of the Am Echad, our identity is, our reality is being one Am Echad, Tenatzeach et kol hatzad shel hamefuzar v'hamefurad shelanu. Because as he said before, the wonders of Israel is we are Am Echad, that is scattered and divided. But he says what will final, Purim is the example of where the identity of Am Echad is victorious over the divided and separated and divided side of us. It's dominant. It dominates it, rather than the separated and divided. And from all 127 kingdoms and so on. ומתוך כל הגואלים הפורדים והאוהבים, מתוך כל המשעבדים המוכרים והשונאים. Here he goes, poetic, but an amazing. And from all the liberators that are redeeming and all the lovers of Israel, and from all within all the mishabadim, all the enslavers, hamochrim v'asonim, the sellers and the haters, from both the side of the world that loves us and from the side of the world that hates us, and mitoch kol motzoatehem hashonot, and from all their different councils and groups and organizations, which is actually, we're so, the UNRWA, this and that, all the different organizations in the world that are pro-Israel, anti-Israel, Yoshev Bashamayim Yitzchak, the one who dwells in the heavens, is laughing. Amid lanu or Yeshua ve'gulat olamim. The Holy One is establishing for us the light of Yeshua and eternal Geula. Let's read this much to find the English. And we're at the end of it. And this concealed, unknown Judaism, it's much deeper, the collective and all of that, even to ourselves. The great soul of the great nation that bears the suffering of the world and the light of the world within itself. This soul will become known to us. We'll know this of ourselves in these great days. And from that hidden place within the nation's soul will come to us the blessing of go, gather all the Jews. We will be able to do it. we must cherish greatly in these days of Purim this great and hidden treasure in which our happiness and the wealth of our life are stored, the unique quality of our being one people will triumph over all the aspects of our being scattered and dispersed. That's what Israel is about. And from among all the redeemers, the rescuers, and the lovers, and from all the oppressors, the sellers, the haters, and from all their various schemes, he, the one who sits in heaven, will laugh, establishing for us a light of salvation, eternal redemption. And then, umitoch hama'amad shel ad delo yada ben aror Haman lebaruch Mordechai, and from that level of not knowing the difference between cursed is Haman and blessed is Mordechai, and here it's implying that we no longer judge each other. We're going beyond this thing of, oh no, he's more, the way we see individuals in the people of Israel. From this place where we're past knowing the difference between cursed is Haman and blessed is Mordechai, then tavo hakara elona, can come a higher recognition. Limtso et hayehudi habilti yadua shebetochenu, that we can find the unknown, the Jew beyond knowing that is within us. V'ach el ach yitvada, and then brother will join together with brother. V'yad liyad tinaten, and hand will give to, and all of Israel, we're all brothers and sisters, and hand in hand we will give to each other. V'kol gadol yishama, and a loud voice will be heard. Kumu v'na'alet Zion el beit Eloheinu, rise up and let us go up Zion, all you Zionists, to the house of our God. Ukebiyamei Mor v'Hadas, and like the days of Mordechai and Esther, Ye'emar Gamayom, we will now be able to say again, Yeshno Am Echad, there is one nation, Me'ugad, that is joined together, Me'ugad, Vegavush, and Omed Bechosno, it's standing powerfully in its unity. Livnot et kol harisotav, and it will build all its destroyed places, all its destructive places, mi otzaro hapnimi, from its inner treasury, hasamui min ha'ayin, that can't be seen by the eye, asher bo bnuzahi abracha shelech knos et kol haYehudim, that there we find the blessing of gather all the Jews. The one who sits in heavens is laughing, establishing for us a light of salvation, eternal redemption, and from the state of one cannot distinguish between cursed is Haman and blessed is Mordechai, a higher emergence will emerge, enabling us to discover the unknown unified Jew within ourselves, and brother will recognize brother, and hand will join hand, and a great voice will be heard, arise, let us go up to Zion, to the house of our God. And in this piece, he goes back to that quote, Umechayev Inish, and therefore we need to get intoxicated to the Purim beyond we're seeing the brother and sister each other rather than, well, you're Haman, you're Mordechai, but we're all one, Am Echad. And that's how basically he ended the letter in 1934. In the letter in 1935, he ends it like this. And then once we reach that level of Am Echad, nachriz al kocho shel Israel HaMe'uchad. We will announce the power of the united Israel. Ha'me'ached et kol am Hashem lechol plagav. The power of the united Israel, which is uniting the entire nation of God to all its parties, all its groups. And that unification of all the parties and all the groups, which is the power of Israel Me'uchad, hu hayesod shel hayahadut hanitzchit. It is hu asod. It is the secret of the eternal Judaism. Sha'al yado, that through it, nitromem v'nitnaseh, we will rise up and go forth beyond mi'al kol hamichsholim, beyond all the obstacles, asher bederech tchiyatenu haleumit, which are in our path of national rebirth, national revival. And so, unfortunately, had we come to that level of unity before, again, 1920s, 1930s, when Rav Kook was live saying it. And it's as equally real for us today. I want to bless us that we're able to come to the level of blessing where we recognize that our differences are less than are part of one nation, Am Echad, that we are part of that. And that we're able to then knos et kol HaYehudim, bring them all together. And then we can truly experience and announce. And we're a long way into this, given what he was writing then, where we are now. So that's thank God. But we're seeing the obstacles that are still there that are preventing us to come to our full unity. So may we reach the level where we can announce the koach of Israel HaMe'uchad, and we can experience the oneness of the entire nation of Hashem, all our parts. And in this way, we'll be able to rise over and go forth with no obstacles in our path of national renewal, national rebirth, and really bring it to its fullness, and then bring that to the world, and all memories of Amalek will be completely gone, and we'll be living in a world of tzedek and mishpat v'shalom ve'ahava b'mheira b'yameinu. And may I, in the light of these holy teachings from the holy Kohen Gadol of our Tkufa, may Tzahal be victorious. And you know how much, it's amazing, it's still going on. It's amazing how much is going on. May Tzahal be protected and victorious in all that they do. May all the wounded be healed. May all the mourners be comforted. And may the holy souls that are giving their lives elevate and bring the entire world to its completion. And once there's no more evil, there's no more death, and then things are really going to be fun.
Yeah.
Bimhera b'yameinu v'nomar.
Amen.
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 Amen. Amen.
Because if there's no death, there's also no disease.
Mhm.
Let's see. Yeah, God doesn't want anybody to suffer. Yeah, so almost Shabbat Shalom and blessings and blessings. And Rabbi Joe, I don't know, but we have a state of the world and all that. But in any case, and feel free. I have a few minutes before I have to go sit up here. But what?
Yeah. Hi, Joe.
Yeah, I see Rabbi Nachum.
Shalom.
He's become defrocked.
What do you say?
I said you were defrocked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I have to report. I do have a report.
Yes, please.
Everything is in bloom in northern Israel. The country is entirely green and lush and just delicious. There were only a couple of bombs during the night. The rest of it was just jackals making noises. It was really nice and still. I was all the way up in near Metula, near the northernmost, what's called the Etzba Galil. And I tell you, the whole country is green. It's just marvelous to see it all in such bloom. It's renewing itself. Nature is in renewing itself. And we had lots of rain up to now,
mhm.
enough to make everything bloom. And it's just lush wherever you go. Amazing. Very beautiful.
That's a much better report than
Yeah, that's all, folks.
that other stuff.
Yeah.
Really.
Oh,
I think that that the president of India's visit here to Israel is very significant. I believe that it's, very, very significant for Israel. I think as of this afternoon, they had signed 16 different deals, including security arrangements.
Hmm.
And it's like the president said, he represents 1.3 billion Indians.
wow.
It's a very large buying power. It's an economic base to contend with, and they are a very strong economy. They may very well be the strongest economy around right now, or soon to be.
Really?
So
Wow.
we have a friend. We really have a friend. It was just beautiful to hear, him referring to the indigenous Indian Jews that have been around for many years, the B'nai Menashe and the B'nai,
Huh.
I mean, he was like talking about important Jewish Indian contributions to the country and to its history and to its its wars of independence and stuff. It was a beautiful, very, very beautiful reception that they gave him. Anyway, so Bezrat Hashem, we'll see good results coming out of that.
Yeah.
And that's it. We're building alliances and making friends, influencing people.